Imagine standing in the middle of a vast desert. For hundreds of miles, there is nothing but sand, heat, and empty land stretching beyond the horizon. No rivers, no forests, no major cities. Nothing that would suggest the birth of one of humanity's most ambitious projects. Now imagine that someone points toward that empty desert and says, "We're going to build the city of the future here." Not a town, not a small development. An entirely new city designed to transform the way humans live. A city powered by advanced technology. A city built around sustainability. A city that could eventually house millions of people. A city so ambitious that many experts believe it should not even be possible. And yet, Saudi Arabia is attempting exactly that. The project is called NEOM, and it may become one of the most fascinating experiments in human history. But here's the question. Why would a country spend hundreds of billions of dollars building a city from scratch in the middle of the desert? And more importantly, can this impossible vision actually become reality? To understand the answer, we first need to understand the challenge facing Saudi Arabia. For decades, Saudi Arabia has been one of the world's largest oil producers. Its economy has benefited enormously from energy exports. Oil transformed the nation. It built infrastructure, created wealth, and turned Saudi Arabia into one of the most influential countries on earth. But there is a problem. Oil will not remain the foundation of the global economy forever. Around the world, countries are investing in renewable energy. Electric vehicles are becoming increasingly common. Technology is rapidly changing industries. And many leaders understand that future prosperity cannot depend entirely on natural resources. So imagine you were responsible for preparing a country for the next 50 years. What would you do? Would you simply continue relying on past success? Or would you make one of the boldest investments in the future ever attempted? Saudi Arabia chose the second option. In 2017, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman announced a vision that immediately captured global attention. A new region would be developed along the Red Sea, a region focused on technology, innovation, tourism, sustainability, artificial intelligence, and economic diversification. This project would become known as NEOM, and the scale was almost difficult to comprehend. Covering an area larger than many countries, NEOM was designed to become far more than a city. It was envisioned as an entirely new model for civilization. Think about that for a moment. Most cities evolve over centuries. Roads are added gradually. Buildings appear over time. Infrastructure develops slowly. NEOM is attempting something very different. Instead of evolving naturally, it is being designed from the ground up. Every road, every building, every transportation system, every technological component, planned from the beginning. But the most ambitious part of the project is something called the line. And this is where the story becomes truly extraordinary. Imagine a city stretching across the desert in a perfectly straight line. Not circular, not sprawling, not expanding endlessly into suburbs. A straight line, roughly 170 kilometers long, designed to eliminate traditional roads. Designed so residents can access essential services within minutes. Designed to prioritize people rather than vehicles. At first glance, it sounds like science fiction. Many people reacted with disbelief. Some laughed. Others called it impossible. And honestly, can you blame them? After all, throughout history, cities have followed similar patterns. They spread outward. They become congested. Traffic increases. Infrastructure struggles to keep up. The line proposes something radically different. But here's an interesting question. What if our traditional idea of a city is outdated? What if the way cities have been designed for centuries is no longer the best approach? As urban populations continue growing, these questions become increasingly important. Today, many major cities face similar challenges. Traffic congestion, pollution, housing shortages, long commutes, rising infrastructure costs. Could a completely new model solve these problems? That is one of the central ideas behind the line. Supporters argue that advanced technology can improve efficiency. High-speed transportation could drastically reduce travel times. Artificial intelligence could optimize city operations. Renewable energy could reduce environmental impact. And carefully planned infrastructure could improve quality of life. It's an attractive vision. But building such a city is easier said than done. Because creating futuristic concepts is one thing. Constructing them in the real world is something entirely different. And this brings us to one of the biggest questions surrounding NEOM. Can the engineering challenges actually be overcome? The scale of construction required is staggering. Massive excavation projects, transportation networks, power systems, water infrastructure, residential developments, commercial districts, technology systems. All of it must work together seamlessly, and all of it must operate in one of the planet's harshest environments. The desert is beautiful, but it is also unforgiving. Extreme temperatures, dust storms, remote locations, limited natural resources. Every challenge becomes more complicated. Yet despite these obstacles, construction continues. Billions of dollars are already being invested. Thousands of workers are involved, and the project continues moving forward. But perhaps the most fascinating aspect of NEOM is not the construction itself. It's what the project represents. Because throughout history, civilizations have been defined by their willingness to dream beyond current limitations. Think about ancient pyramids, massive bridges, skyscrapers, railways, space exploration. Almost every transformative achievement was once considered impossible. People doubted airplanes. People doubted space travel. People doubted the internet. And yet those technologies changed the world. Could NEOM eventually join that list? Or will it become a cautionary tale about ambition exceeding reality? That question remains unanswered. But there is another factor that makes this project especially important. Artificial intelligence, automation, smart infrastructure, digital systems. NEOM is being designed during a period of rapid technological change. Many experts believe cities of the future will operate very differently from cities today. Transportation could become autonomous. Buildings could become smarter. Energy systems could become more efficient. Services could become increasingly automated. If those predictions prove accurate, cities built today may look dramatically different from cities built 50 years ago. And that creates an opportunity. If you're building from scratch, why copy old models? Why not design for the future? Why not experiment? Why not push boundaries? This is one reason why NEOM continues attracting global attention. It isn't simply another construction project. It is a test of what cities might become. Of course, critics remain skeptical. Some question costs. Others question feasibility. Others wonder whether timelines can be achieved. These concerns are understandable. Megaprojects throughout history have often faced delays and setbacks. Reality rarely unfolds exactly according to plan. Yet despite criticism, interest remains enormous. Investors are watching. Governments are watching. Urban planners are watching. Technology companies are watching. Because success would have implications far beyond Saudi Arabia. If NEOM works, it could influence how future cities are designed around the world. If it fails, it may become one of the most expensive lessons in modern history. Either outcome will be studied for decades. And that's what makes this story so compelling. It's not simply about one city. It's about the future. It's about how humans adapt to changing technologies. It's about how societies prepare for the next century. And perhaps most importantly, it's about the power of ambition. Because whether you believe NEOM will succeed or fail, one thing is undeniable. Very few projects in human history have dared to dream on this scale. Most people see a desert and see limitations. The people behind NEOM looked at the same landscape and saw possibilities. And sometimes, the greatest innovations begin with exactly that kind of thinking. So perhaps the most important question is not whether this city should exist. Perhaps the question is whether humanity can afford to stop imagining impossible things. Because every great achievement was once considered unrealistic. Every breakthrough was once dismissed. Every revolution started as an idea. Today, NEOM remains under construction. Its ultimate fate remains uncertain. But the world is watching. Watching to see whether an impossible city can rise from the desert. Watching to see whether a futuristic vision can become reality. And watching to see whether one of the boldest experiments in modern history will change the future forever. If you enjoyed this video and want more stories about extraordinary projects, powerful ideas, and the forces shaping our future, make sure to subscribe to Hidden Ledger. Leave a comment below